Guys, it's been a rough 5 months. I've applied for over 100 jobs, and what you just saw were the few ones that actually decided to respond. I've been through maybe 7 in person interviews. There's a few things that I noticed. Number one is tailoring resumes is a loaded crap, to be honest with you. You spend so much time tailoring your resume to the specific job that you want that you end up spending more time doing that than actually applying for jobs. Applying for jobs, from what I can tell, is either you know someone and they could just get you into the place that you want to go, and so applying for jobs is nothing, or it's a numbers game. And anything that makes you lessen that numbers game, like to a certain degree, is not worth it. So, for example, if you have a resume that is good enough and you apply for 5 jobs, it's probably going to do more for you than if you have a pretty decent resume, like a pretty good one, and you apply for 2 jobs. Guys, it's these jobs don't reply to you. And the ones that do, I promise you, they don't care about your resume as much as you think they do. So before I go into the whole resume thing, let me start off by saying that the actual job posts themselves are a load of crap. They're made by people who might know the job a little bit, but usually it's not the person that really knows what they're doing or really knows what they're talking about. It's just a bunch of keywords in there and like a rough idea of what you're trying to do. Some of the jobs that you even apply for, some of the ones that at least I was applying for, it's top secret stuff, so they can't really tell you what it is. They can only tell you the general idea. But beyond that, without fail, I'm a recent graduate. I've been applying for entry-level jobs. I have one internship, several jobs that I've worked for that are engineering related or not, and lots of projects that are very, in my opinion, are pretty good. They're pretty freaking solid. And they're the ones I end up talking about a lot in my interviews. That's the ones that everyone asks for. And I'm having like no luck. These job applications ask for 0 to 3 years of experience. I've been trying to apply for ones that specifically say entry level or new grad positions. And without fail, every single time I go into these interviews, they don't treat it like it's an entry level position. They treat it like it's a mid-level position and you should already know what you're doing. Okay, I've had several interviews where it's an entry level position. Entry level. And in the technical round, I get asked, for example, tell me the entire design process from start to finish of a 2-camera drone. A drone has a camera in the front, like pointing forward, and at a 45-degree angle going down. 2 cameras. It's supposed to track another drone. Tell me how exactly you would design that from start to finish. Pretend I'm like a really shit PM, so I can't really give you any advice, and you have to kind of explain to me why it's a good idea to do what you're doing. I've had one interview where they interviewed me, and they told me, they gave me the interview because I've worked on underground vehicles and underwater vehicle. I've worked on underwater vehicles and ground vehicles, and I swear, he told me that I'm not qualified for the job because I've not worked on aerial vehicles. You knew that when you gave me the interview. So, like, you genuinely wasted all of our times. Makes no sense. Makes 0 freaking sense. And that's beyond the fact that entry-level positions, how much experience are you going to have? They say 0 to 3 years of experience, but there's so many people that apply to these positions that the odds are you're going to have a couple people that have worked for 2 to 3 years. And so that pool is, a number of people from 1 or 0 to 3 years of experience, but the people that they select is the 2 to 3 years of experience. Basically the ones that are almost mid-level but are not mid-level. So they're going to pay them at an entry level, but basically they get mid-level work. And a lot of the jobs that I've applied for example, that drone example, they specifically say entry level, but you are genuinely doing mid-level tasks. They're just paying you at an entry level rate. But a lot of the jobs that I've applied to, where it's an entry level position, they'll come back to me and they'll say, yeah, we're going with other candidates that more closely align with our goals, or that have more experience, more relevant experience. It is an entry-level position. How relevant could they have their experience? Like, even if it was really relevant, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter that much. I have an undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering, and I have a master's degree in robotics. They are degrees. They are you learn the general idea of everything, so that you can go to any field that you want. Why? Like, why am I getting rejected? Because I haven't worked on aerial vehicles. I'm an entry-level candidate. I don't have a specialization in aerial vehicles. But I've worked on two different domains of vehicles. I'm missing one, arguably the easiest one out of the three. Why are you rejecting me? For a lack of experience. This is an entry-level position. What do you expect? Or what do the other candidates have that you're moving on to them instead? It really does baffle me. Here's another great example that literally just happened. I had a friend. Okay, she said that they had an interview position open at their company. And she's like, "You should apply." And I said, "Okay, I'll apply, sure." I mean, it's an internship, not really something that recent graduates do, right? That's something that you're normally underqualified for, right? Or you're overqualified for. I apply, and she calls back, and she's like, "Dude, I'm really scared." I'm like, "What happened?" My boss came in here and started laughing, and asking me if I checked your resume and checked what was on there. And my face got so red. I was like, "What? What did I put on there? I must have like gave them a draft or something." And I checked it twice, but what happened? She's like, "Oh, he said that you haven't worked in the last 5 months." I just graduated. Okay, yeah, I haven't worked in the last 5 months. That's why I'm applying for a job. Who cares that I haven't worked in the last 5 months? And he's like, "Yeah, this guy has like no experience working at all." I'm like, "No experience working at all?" First of all, this resume is specifically tailored for a mechanical engineering position. That's what this job was. I gave them my mechanical engineering experience, including a job I did in college where I was a test lab, where I worked in a test lab and worked on testing materials using instrons. That was 3 years of experience. 3. In addition to that, I put many projects that were very long, very grueling, and worked with a lot of people in a lot of different domains to get an output happening, to get a system working. And this guy had the audacity to say that. Well, I was like, "Okay, fine, whatever." Like, damn, okay, that hurt. Like, ouch. But he said, "Hey, like, if you've worked on," or she said it in a nice voice. I'm sure he didn't say it like this, considering he laughed at my resume to my friend's face. He said to add, to like, even if it's not relevant, add your experience. Apparently, like, I guess apparently my test lab experience was not enough. 3 years of experience, not enough. So I'm currently working a part-time job. It's a software development job. Complete opposite of mechanical engineering. I threw that on there. I did a resident assist. I was a resident assistant in my undergraduate. I threw that on there. I did an internship in my freshman year for 3 months. I threw that on there. And a couple days passed by, and I get a message back this morning from my friend saying that, "Yeah, you're probably not going to get the job. He said you're way overqualified." You just laughed at me because I was underqualified, which for an internship makes sense that I'm underqualified. I do exactly what you asked me to do, and now I'm overqualified. Now, I already knew I was overqualified, but I was applying because my friend told me to do it. And I was like, whatever, like, I'll just do it. But it's just that sheer fact, like, this is what it's like. I apply for jobs, and it's an instant rejection. And it's, people, like, we're trying to get people that are more closely aligned with the goal. Are you? And that's when I tailored my resumes. Are you? My resume is pretty tailored to your goals. or it's you don't have enough experience. It's one or the other. I can't be in between. Like I can't. It's ridiculous. And then this is for entry level positions. It's not like I'm aiming high for mid level positions. And maybe I should, but like it's absurd, guys. It is really, 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 really absurd, and it's pissing me off so much. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going through the interview process, but guys, it is not looking good. I mean, I've gone through several guys. I went through the final round for 2 places. All right, I went really recently. Final round for 2 places. The first place, I went to their facility. I checked it out. I got interviewed by five. I think it was 5 people. It went really, really well, right? But the issue was the people didn't really know it was a company. For context, it was a company that was basically doing an internal startup for robotics. So it was a manufacturing company, well established, and they wanted to add a little bit of robotics to it. So they treated it like it's a startup. No one in that company that I talked to knew what the hell was going on in the robotics program or department that they were doing. I had people, this is another thing. Every single interview I've been in, I get interviewed by someone who is not in the domain that the job is for. For example, the drone interview where I had to design a drone, I got interviewed by an AI engineer. Sure, there's AI components in there, but why the hell am I being interviewed by an AI engineer? The robotics department, the robotics degree one, or the robotics job, was a mechanical engineering job. Was a mechanical engineer that interviewed me. The other one that I was in, there were several ones, some mechanical engineering ones, but I got interviewed by also a chemical, not chemical engineer, a chemical person. It's funny when you talk to these people, right, and they ask you to tell you a little bit about your resume, tell you a little bit about the project. They have no idea what you're talking about, and you have to dumb it down for them. But these are the people that are interviewing you to see if you're qualified for the job. They themselves are not qualified for the job, and you're being interviewed by them. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Cool guy, though, to be honest with you. He was a pretty cool guy. But that's beyond. So all that has made me just absolutely hate, absolutely dread the interviewing process. Hate it. Granted, I get free travel to all these interview places. I've been traveling to the States, visiting them for the first time. It's been pretty nice. But I got a month until my student loans are done. I don't know when that's going to get paid. I guess before I go into the kind of the some other things I know that were really bad. The most recent interview that I came back from, I fucked up. All the other interviews have not cared at all. The technical interviews are you talking about your projects, what you did in them, and how give you scenarios to work through. They also go through their own scenarios that they also might be going through in their own company and how you might work through those problems. The one that I recently went through, deadass, they gave me a worksheet and I had to work through it in front of these people and talk through my thought process. And the questions were freshman level, genuinely freshman level. I haven't seen these questions in 4 years. 3, if I want to be a little bit mean to myself. And these questions have never, ever, ever been of use to me in any of the projects that I worked on. Any. I had to draw a stress strain curve for a material. For what? For what? I can look that up in literally 30 seconds. And I did after. I drew it. I didn't draw it right, and I didn't label all of it perfectly. But genuinely, I went back to my room. I looked it up in 30 seconds, and I could answer the entire 5-part question like that. 30 seconds. That's all it took. They asked me what the difference between Python and C++ was in terms of the CPU running it, and I didn't know the answer to that. It was a mechatronics position, to give you context. So they had mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and software engineering questions. I don't know. I've been coding in C++ for a year and a half, 2 years, and Python for about 3 years. Never relevant to me whatsoever. Never relevant to me whatsoever. I did not need to know that information even a little bit. Again, I looked it up, got the answer in 30 seconds. Easy peasy. But I'm not going to get this job because I messed up freshman level questions. I'm embarrassed, genuinely embarrassed that I fucked that up. But I'm also embarrassed that I was even asked that question. Like, I wasn't in an entry level position. I was in like internship level position. Like, hey, freshman, sophomore, you're just starting classes. Do you know the difference between a stress strain curve? Do you know what a stress strain curve is? Do you know the difference between stress and strain? Like, that's the questions I got. Oh, you see this electrical diagram? Can you calculate the current going through the resistor? I got that one right, and then can you look at it and tell me what's wrong with the circuit? I couldn't tell you what was wrong with the circuit. I haven't looked at it yet. I gotta go back. I looked at it one time. Couldn't tell you. I have to go through a little simulation and see if I can find what's wrong with it. I have no idea what's wrong with it. None. Zero idea. But there's something wrong with it. Anyways, forget about that. That's the one interview that I thought was pretty fine in terms of the process. Although it was from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., it was a grueling interview. As a mixture of me presenting, me doing the technical interview, and me doing 3 hours of a behavioral interview. It was grueling, and I fucked it. God damn. Anyways, moving on. Some of the things that, now this is beyond applying for jobs. Now this is more in the job territory. When I ask these people, right, an interview is a two-way street, right? They're interviewing you to see if you're good for the position, and you're interviewing them to see if you're good for the environment. You're good to be in that kind of environment. Without fail, there's a few things that I noticed in these jobs that I'm not a fan of at all. Number one is that all these jobs, they take a lot of time, okay? These people are overworked, for sure. They have projects they're working on something for a company or for a customer, and you got to get it done. And they try to justify that as the reason why they ask you to work basically overtime. You're there for 8 hours. However, without fail, everyone that I talk to, as you get closer to the deadline of your project, you are expected to work 9 hours, 10 hours a day. You go from 40 hours a week to anywhere from 40 to 60 hours. And that's casual to say. That's insane. Guys, this job is supposed to be a means to the end for me. I will have nothing else if I'm working 60 hours a week or 50 hours a week. I barely would have enough if I'm working 40 hours a week to go do whatever the hell I want to do. That's absurd. And they just say that casually. They're all like, yeah. And then, they ask me what are my hobbies, and I go through my hobbies, and then I go out and ask them, and then none of them have any hobbies because they don't have time because either they got a girlfriend or a wife and family. That's their one other thing they do. Or then sometimes they'll hang out with their work friends. That's absurd. So I'm going through all this freaking hell to apply for a job, and then when I get in, it's just hell anyway. Just hell anyway. So I'm like, that's a little scary to me, man. That's a little scary to me. I'm the person that when I'm out of work doesn't exist anymore. When 5 p.m. hits, I'm done. That's it. I'm not thinking about work anymore, and I'm not doing work anymore. That's how it is right now. I have a part-time job. The moment my 12:30 hits, that's it. I'm done. I don't care if I'm in the middle of something. I don't care if I'm just starting something. I don't care if I just finish something. It doesn't exist anymore. Oh. I'm looking at my notes here. Another thing that I noticed is that people treat you like you don't know anything. And let me explain a little bit. And this kind of builds off. This happened a lot. I keep using the drone example, but it's not the only time. Pretty much every single interview, They treat you like you don't have, just because you haven't touched something in a project, that you don't A, have experience in it, or B, know how to do it in theory. I know how to do a lot of things in theory, and I promise you, it ain't that hard to figure out. Some of the examples I have, right, with the drone one. Okay, yeah, I haven't worked on an aerial drone, but I've worked on ground and underwater ones. The autonomy, the idea is still the same. The sensor integration, the idea is still the same. Not the supercomputers, the microcontrollers, still the same. Like, they're the same idea. Why is it a problem that I don't have aerial experience? Again, in an entry-level position. I can promise you that I can run a simulation of an aerial vehicle and get it all working, and it'd be perfectly fine. I promise you, I've gone to classes where we think all about aerial stuff. I've had computer vision classes where we try to determine objects in like through occlusions and stuff. Like, why do you treat me like I don't know anything? Or I guess maybe more specifically, it's not that they treat me like I don't know anything. Why do you treat me like I have a specialization? Like, I have a specialization in underwater vehicles, so there's no way I can work on a ground vehicle or an aerial vehicle. Or, let me see, what's another example? Oh, another one is cameras. Like, I've automated a lot of systems with a lot of different sensors. One of the ones I haven't done is a camera. And some of the places they use a camera for they use perception. Even though I've taken several computer vision classes, and I've done simulations with sensors and sometimes cameras, I haven't worked with a camera in real life. Oh, completely unqualified for the job. Sorry, bud. Sorry, you don't have no idea how to use a camera. None at all. How to grab a stereo camera or a mono camera. Silly. Why did you apply for the job? Silly. Like I said it before, these degrees are not specializations. I mean, I'm specializing in the domain of mechanical engineering or robotics. Those are two very general degrees, right? Like, very general degrees. I know a lot of different things about a lot of different domains, and I promise you, I can do most of them. And they're treating me like I can do none of them. Because I'm not specialized. Oh, another one is that these companies don't offer overtime. Like, they expect you to work over the time of 8 hours, but they don't give you overtime. It's straight time. None of the companies I've talked to give you overtime. One of them straight up told me it's straight time. You expect me to work extra hours than what I'm supposed to work, and you're not even compensating me for the fact that you're taking more of my time? Absurd. Like, absurd. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking that, but yeah, anyways, it's rough out here. If you guys have any stories of your own, I would love to hear them. Put them in the comments. I will read all of them, because I'm sure it'll make me feel a little better to know that I'm not the only one going through this, even though I know I'm not the only one going through this. If you got any tips, also throw them in there. Wish me luck, guys. See you.